Hey friends, Chris Vandeviver here from Logic Pro Expert, and today I want to dig into how to create your own drum machine designer kits using your own drum samples. Now this sort of piggybacks off my colleague Derek's last post where he dissected how to use the EXS24 to essentially sample and reinvent Apple loops. Now I just want to preface this with, I love Drum Machine Designer, and I feel like it hasn't received quite the fanfare it deserves. I mean, electronic drums are a staple of the Logic toolkit, and it has never been as easy as it is now to edit, sample, and work with electronic drums. I mean, let's bring up an instance of Drum Machine Designer. Let's head to the library, subheading Electronic Drum Kit, Drum Machine Designer, and the kit of your choice. And let's open the instrument. So I think it's pretty obvious what's going on here. It's a drum sampler, and we have 16 cells. We have more banks of cells, and we can even drag our own samples in here if we so choose. We have various sounds to pick from, such as kick, snare, hats, and more. And then we have smart controls underneath, adjusting the level of different instruments, effects, send levels, and then if you click on a particular sound, you can adjust the pitch, add distortion, and much more. And what I find really fascinating about Drum Machine Designer is if you open the track stack and select the first sound contained within, usually the kick, it turns out that Ultrabeat is the whole back-end engine for this whole system. So it's like we get the best of both worlds. We get to enjoy Ultrabeat, but without the complexity of Ultrabeat. Because let's be honest, at first blush, this is pretty intense to look at. But what we're most interested in is creating our own drum machine kits, using our own samples. So I have an audio file here of a drum kit, and I'm going to drag it right into my session. And let's take a listen. Okay, I got some samples in there that I want to try and check out. So let me get rid of most of the region here as I won't need it. And I'm going to open up Flex. And we're going to use slicing as our algorithm. And the goal here is I want Logic to identify where the transients are and place transient markers at those moments. But as we can see, the region has shrunk a little bit. So I have to do a little extra work because now, based on tempo, Logic has adjusted the tempo of this region. Let's take a listen. So I'm not interested in that. So we'll take a couple extra steps here. I'm going to control-click the region, go to tempo, and remove the original recording tempo from the audio file. Click OK. And from here, we'll control-click again and reset all Flex edits. So now our region is the correct length and tempo. All right, we're good to go. So you can see here that there are transient markers for each transient. Control-click again, and I want to slice at transient markers. So now Logic has quickly and efficiently diced up this region based on sample, or transient rather. So we have easy access to each transient to throw into Drum Machine Designer. So I'm going to turn off Flex. I'm going to pick out my samples now. Okay, I'm interested in that kick, maybe that snare, and we'll go with this hat here. Okay, I'm going to duplicate my track and bring those down. I'm going to get rid of this track, take a listen. Okay, perfect. So I want to make sure to add fades to my regions, just to make sure there's no pops or clicks. And we're going to export these regions. First things first, though, I want to rename them so I can easily identify them. So I believe this is a kick, hat, and snare. Just make sure here. Yep, this was opposite. So hat and kick. All right. Highlight all three regions, go to File, Export, and export these three regions as audio files. So now I want to make sure to add the resulting files to the project browser so I can easily drag them back into the session. I'm going to keep everything the same and we're good to go. So let's export. All right, Open the project browser, option click. Here we go, our 3 samples to choose from. So let's go back to Drum Machine Designer. And instead of the After Party kit, I'm going to select the Empty Kit preset. We have all the processing, but if you open Drum Machine Designer, there's nothing on the cells contained within. So let's highlight our 3 samples and drag them into Drum Machine Designer. Now, if you take notice, we have 3 cells highlighted. And if I let go, Logic populates these 3 cells. What's really handy is it's just totally drag and drop. And if you start from the bottom left-hand corner, it'll work its way from left to right, up to the next line, left to right, so on and so forth. So if I have 16 samples, it'll populate in this direction all the way up. And if I have more than 16 samples to choose from, it'll move on to the next page of cells, starting from the bottom left. Super handy. So from here, I'm going to adjust the pitch of each of these instruments. That works for me. So I'm going to use my pencil tool to introduce a region on this track. Double click. And what's really handy is in the piano roll, the names of our samples are right there for us to use. This makes life so much easier when you're trying to work with Drum Machine Designer. I'm going to use the paintbrush tool and just paint in maybe 16th note hi-hats. Couple kicks probably. And you get the idea. It's that simple to use electronic drums and to use your own samples. All it takes is just dicing up the region and using the Empty Kit preset, drag and drop right onto the cells. So I hope that was helpful to you. Thanks so much.